These reasons, boosting growth, raising overall income, reducing inequality and tackling poverty, it is just a no-brainer. Now there's one other message that I want to give you. You know, I'm getting to the second or third or fourth, whatever part of my life. I've been a private sector and a leader. I've been in politics and a leader. I'm now leading an international institution. And I just want to warn all of us. I want to warn all of us that words. You remember the big James Bond film, The World Is Not Enough? Well, I would say words are not enough. Beware of the nice words. Beware of the silver tongue. Verify. Verify that implementation, which is a fantastic eye of the Turkish presidency. Thank you, Prime Minister. Verify that implementation is actually taking place. Because they can be sweet promises. They can be general commitments. But what matters is actually what is delivered. I remember when I got my first job, I had several offers in various very, very good law firms. Why did I choose the one? I chose the one that I joined because there was a woman who was a female managing partner. So verify all the time. Why did I join the government of President Sarkozy? Because he committed that there would be half women, half men in the cabinet. And wherever you go, whenever you are promised something, verify that it is actually delivered. Trust, but verify. Now, in terms of implementation, I want to just flag 3 key policies that can actually change the map in terms of implementation. And the Prime Minister has alluded to some of them. The first one, the key one, is education. If you want to invest in the best possible return you get, as long as you are prepared to take a risk just for the long term, not for the short term, invest in girls' education. All the numbers are there. All the great organizations that you represent actually know that and have published extensively about it. Education is actually a key driver for women's empowerment and women's improvement in society. The second one has to do with what happens next after education is completed, and that is jobs, working. Here again, there can be significant policy decisions which, if implemented, can actually help employment of women. I'll give you one example which I often refer to because it's not often the case that the Prime Minister of a country where there is an issue actually acknowledges that there is an issue, doesn't brag about numbers but says, we have an issue. Not enough women leading SMEs, not enough women in education, not enough women in the job market, not enough salary. Well, the Prime Minister of Japan agreed that it was an issue for Japan and that the aging society of Japan actually was in desperate need of the most phenomenal supply of talent, and those were the Japanese women. Better educated, longer educations, better performance. So measures have actually been taken. What are they? First of all, eliminate from the legal system any discrimination. You would be surprised. We did a study using data from the World Bank. 90%, I'm going to move this translation because it's making too much noise. 90% of the countries of the world have at least one major piece of legislation that discriminates against women. 90%. So it's very well shared. And those discriminations, if eliminated, can produce a massive effect. We have seen it in various countries where once the constitution was changed in order to prevent and forbid discrimination, and provided that there was very cautious follow-up, including by the women community, the situation could change economically significantly. So that's the first one. Get the discriminations out. Second one is clearly budget spent on childcare centers. And that is something that the Japanese authorities have decided to do, and that quite a few other countries have also done over the years. The third one is pay, remuneration. Why should it be that we only get 75% for the same qualifications, the same education, and the same delivery? So that has to also be not only set out clearly in the law and in the company rules, but also delivered upon, and it's everybody's choice to actually look into it and question what is happening. Final one, and I will make a huge, big effort this year at the United Nations annual meeting when we discuss the post-2015 Sustainable Development Goals, is financial inclusion. There's a big issue about financial inclusion. It is well known across the world that it's difficult to access financing for SMEs. Well, it's even far more difficult for women to access financing, whatever form it takes. So on that front, we also need to make a difference and make sure that there is no difference. Now, I will finish with one last thing. And that will be my conclusion, because I don't want to miss my flight to Ukraine and do with Natalie whatever we can do to help that country. And I want to conclude with one word, which is together. I have huge admiration for a woman who is a friend of mine, Madeleine Albright, who was the Secretary of State of the United States. And she finishes her first book saying this: there should be a special place in hell for women who do not support women. We have to be together. And while we always assume that it's granted that we're together, look back at your own experience, at what you do yourself, at how many younger women you promote along the way. We're not very good at being together because we've always, culturally, historically, in most cultures of the world, faced adversity. And we don't have that natural tendency to close ranks, gang up, and be together. So that's the first together that I want to mention. And the second one is, you know, there is often people who say, behind a successful man, there's always a woman. Yeah. And there's also a saying that says, behind a successful woman, there is always a stressed man. Well, I think that we should say that together with a successful man or woman, there's always also a successful and supportive man or woman. With that, I wish I could stay with you longer. I wish I could listen to Angel and the other great speakers of the day, but I really have to go and get on with the job that I have to do. And I was very happy to share a few moments with you and to celebrate this initiative W20, which is, I hope, a landmark in what will be a continuous process by which we trust, we listen, but we verify and we ask whether there is actually implementation. Thank you very, very much.